All right, welcome to Helpdesk Hangouts. This is Helpdesk Hangouts number 100 and whatever. Thanks for joining us today. We missed last week. No one joined us, and today we've got some more people, which is nice. And we can talk about some things that either we got a bunch of different stuff we can talk about. We could definitely talk about sites. We can talk about your site, your competitor's site, maybe your client's site, all kinds of issues and things like that. We can even talk about some security stuff, some interesting things that I found during this last week. And we could even talk about some design or UX type issues that I've started to dabble in a lot more, and maybe you have as well. And we could bring up any issues that you have or anyone else that you know has. So basically, we can cover the wide spectrum of SEO and SEM and everything incorporated thereof. My name is Matt Storms. Welcome to join us today. Thank you. If you have not subscribed to us on YouTube, please do so. That way you'll just get it every week in your email, and you can just go and watch it at your leisure, or leisure, as how Archie says it. So it's the good old British way. Maybe he says leisure, I don't know. I always like making fun of the British. So anyways, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. We're going to go left to right. I'll introduce yourself, so you have to unmute yourself. And so we'll start with Ali.
Hey guys, it's Ali. I've been here before. You guys kind of guided us. I have a client, IPC Pack. I've been following the Hangout, doing a couple recommendations. I have a few more questions today that I want to get some help with, and hopefully you guys will give me some good advice.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Archie.
Hi, and by the way, I do say leisure, not leisure, but anyway. Yeah, hi, I'm Archie. I'm one of the co-founders of Helpdesk Hangouts, and I'm a top contributor in the Google Webmaster Central Forum and Web Search Forum. Outside of that, I do quite a few things, but talk a lot is not one of them.
And I think, Archie, aren't you also a rising star in the Google Where community as well?
Oh yeah, I am. I haven't had a chance to post there yet, though.
Don't worry, I'm a rising star in there as well. Got my device charging on the stand right now as we speak. All right, Benjamin.
Hello?
Yep.
My name is Ben. I'm from San Francisco. I'm what I call myself a growth marketer, but I also have been doing SEO for quite a number of years. And this is my first Hangout, so I'm really excited.
Outstanding.
Cool.
I live down in San Jose, Benjamin. Maybe one of these days we should meet up for lunch.
Yes, I'm down. I'm 100% down.
All right, great. Danny.
Hi everyone, my name is Danny. I'm with Blue Line Media, and I'm generally interested in SEO.
Outstanding. Kevin.
This is Kevin Mullet. I'm with Market Snare. We help companies with tens to thousands of individual locations, but I also do a lot with general visibility, including social media and content marketing and inbound, outbound, upside down, and all that stuff.
And Wassam.
Sorry, just trying to. But Wissam Dandam from Daytona Beach, Florida. International SEO consultant, and that's about it.
All right, that's it for Wassam. You didn't do anything else? He's out of it. So let's dig into questions first, because it sounds like we have a few people here with questions, and then we can dig into some other type of SEO issues. So, Ollie, I remember you said you had a couple questions. So what do you got? If you could outline it, if you could frame it for us, if you want to share your client's website, whatever you want to go with that. Got to unmute yourself. Don't you hate it when you mute yourself and then you forget it?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. So the client's website was IPC Pack. We did some disavow links. We cleaned up the code quite a bit. But we're trying to approach it in a different way. He has certain keywords that he really wants to rank for, and we're thinking of doing a couple quality microsites. We got 2 domains that kind of target those keywords, and we do want to build, product-based sites with, just the 1 or 2 products. Right now, what we've done is I think wear ourselves thin with too many keywords on his main site. So we're wondering, does this idea still work if you make a quality site with a domain with some keywords and hope to rank with some of the, that kind of thing, not just a cheap microsite with generic content, but a quality site that will hopefully move up quicker than his main site that's not moving at all.
So there's going to be a whole bunch of different opinions on this, Ali, and really the kicker is going to be and you're going to hate this, it depends. And I say that because there are a lot of people that get really uber hung up on domain authority, which can be really cool if you actually have domain authority and it's not so splintered. So if you have good domain authority for a given subject matter or you just, it's a good quality site and you've built it correctly and you've built links correctly over the past, then domain authority can be really hard to beat. However, you have absolute relevance. And sometimes, if you are truly going to build a site that is absolutely relevant about just one niche market, and then you build up, which is going to take time, so this is why I said it depends. If you're looking for the quick fix, this is probably not it. But if you're looking to build absolute relevance for that thing, that subject, that deal, and you're committed to that, that can work as well. But basically, you have to build the authority for that.
Right. So the domains are brand new. So there's no age, there's no authority in that sense. Some of his competitors are ranking for things like that, and I think that's where the idea came from. I know those guys have been around quite a bit, but our plan is to actually make a useful site for people looking for these types of products, where his site now has so many different types of products that the keywords are too, unrelated. They're all related, but in the sense of the actual word, we have thermal packaging and insulated pallet. Same industry, but way different keywords. So I think that's where we're kind of diluting things.
So just real quick, and this is the argument, because I see it already happening in the comments. You're going to dilute your rank. You're going to dilute, okay, well, you're going to dilute your relevance if you're trying to cover too much too. And you're also going to diluting your rank assumes that you already have rank, and it also assumes that your competitors already have rank. So, again, I think that's a valid concern. That's why I said you're going to hear different opinions on this. You are going to dilute your rank. The question is will you be able to build quickly enough and organically enough additional rank? Now, for what we do with localization, I can absolutely tell you that we kick butt for people that have higher domain authority sometimes because they have no relevance to a local area. So it's not one or the other. You have to build both. Don't be worried about the fact that they're brand new domains. If you get out there and you really concentrate on building great content and making it absolutely relevant to that, but it is not a quick fix. There's no question about that, and you are diluting something. So anyway, I've said my piece.
Well, I know Wassam's got an opinion on this because he's writing some stuff in there. Wassam, what's your thought?
I would like to actually, Danny Boladian also asked, good question, is how many actual sites you have, and what is the main site? The main
site is ipcpack.com, and we got 2 new domains that I just put in the chat, and those two domains have the exact keywords that he wants to help build on. And the plan is he has actual products that are only for pallet covers, and he has products that are box liners. And we just want to make, and he has his own brand for these. They're called like Green Liner, Cool Liner. They're actual brand that we could make a branded website that doesn't look like a cheesy microsite just for the sake of ranking. It actually will help his business in the long run. It's just, his focus is more rankings, and I want to know if,
the thing you would ask yourself is, if I put all that effort on the current website, what will put me in a year? And right now, when you take these 2 websites and you start building that content strategy for each one of them, It's going to take effort. It's going to take money. It's going to take everything from you. So if you take all that time dedicated and money dedicated to build these 2 sites, do you think in a year, if you took all that time and all that money and put it on the current main website, will it benefit more? And I know it's kind of hit with the algorithm update, right? An algorithm.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's a great point. It's just on his site, there's so many products that if we just want to focus on those 2 that are related to those terms, it's going to be like we would just be building the interior of the site where we can't focus the homepage on it because he has so many types of products on his main site.
And that's the thing is which would convert better? Is it going to convert better to throw somebody to the inside of a very deep site, or is it going to convert better to have a site that looks like it has authority for that one product? Which again is back to the domain authority versus relevancy question. You know, are you going to look more authoritative if it looks like that's what you're concentrated on? A lot of times, yes. So you have to look at conversion as well.
Thank you, guys.
I mean, in my opinion, and this is, I mean, even there's many cases outside, Penguin, Panda, that people, that businesses actually buy multiple domains to build these small websites, and some of them Google, because the only thing they take is they take the phone number, they put it on Google, say, okay, that phone number, how many websites associated with that phone number, and they say, okay, it's like a doorway pages in a way, if you think about it, terms for view. So I don't want it to go and to put all that money, all that time, and at the end, you build something similar to a doorway page in Google's eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a link farm situation.
Yeah, well, we have
that last year where I did an audit on them, and they had their phone number was on over 30 different websites for 30 different companies. I said, does this look spammy to you guys at all? And when I pointed that out, they're like, well, yeah. I'm like, well, maybe it might be a great idea if we were to change these around, get your phone numbers and diversify a little bit if you guys want to keep all these different companies. That way it's not looking the same. Your footprint supposed to look the same everywhere.
That was another question we had is, should we tie it to his main brand and say, powered by IPC and link it back? And that's another kind of answer that's tough to get, right?
I wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't do it either.
That looks so shady to me.
No, you could link from you could link from the main one off to those, as have a product page off of those and link over to those. I mean, it's a legitimate product from that company, but I would not. I would no follow anything back over to the other one.
Yeah, if it seems shady, if you are questioning it at all, anything you're doing, and I guarantee Josh will back me up on this, if you even think that it's shady, don't do it.
The thing is, it's not going to be shady. We really want to put some effort and make good sites that actually feed the product.
And it's interesting. I had a conversation with a company the other day. They said, oh, we want to build a website where we're not getting caught by Google. I said, well, then just build an amazing website. Don't worry about Google. Build an amazing website.
I think sometimes, though, guys, we get too hung up on automatically labeling things as shady and so forth. There's a business purpose that they have for doing this. They would likely over time potentially build higher authority for that subject matter. If they did awesome, they would likely have higher conversion rates, or at least have the opportunity to have higher conversion rates, because they would look like the authority on that subject matter rather than being nested deep into something else. So there are legitimate business reasons for doing things, notwithstanding the fact that you don't want to be spamming.
Okay. So
there's plenty of reasons to make mini sites or contributing sites. I mean, microsites is a bad word, but there's many reasons to make contributing sites to separate out your brand into separate different entities that you don't necessarily want to have all on the same site. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to interlink them all either. They can mention each other. So the question is, does it suit your business purposes? Do you have the resources to make 5 quality sites as opposed to the quality site?
Yeah.
not a lot of people can say that they have those resources.
And thanks for the advice. And I think we'll just start with one and kind of see how it goes before we, go too deep.
Okay. So I know Danny has the next question here. We're going to bind up a bit. So Danny, go ahead, outline your question, frame it up for us.
Okay, for those who've had experience with Yahoo Local, I can't get anybody who works over at the Yahoo Local team. It sounds like it's a team from India to solve my issue, which is trying to claim an existing listing and change the address or take the address off. Every time I go through Yahoo Local, it takes me through LocalWorks, and it wants me to pay $300 a year to change my address across 100 plus directories. Has anyone had experience with trying to get things changed? And I've actually emailed back and forth with various customer service reps, and each of them says the same thing, which is to claim the listing and change it that way. But I can't claim the listing unless I pay to change everything. And I can't, for some reason, that's not being communicated effectively to them because they don't understand when I say that to them.
Kevin, do you have experience on that?
Well, this sounds like a very particular instance. So there's a couple of ways that you could do this. Yext is Yahoo is a Yext reseller. So if you go to their local, their small business, I can't remember the exact name of it, but their small business local thing, that's actually Yext that you're using in there, and they do like you said, there's like 100 or some sites in there, and you're paying Yahoo, but it's actually you're getting into the Yext system. If you used Yext, it would, I can't remember whether, yes, Yahoo is on that. It would suppress that data until you stopped paying them. Okay, so but it sounds like you've already verified with them, and you already have, or is that's the problem? Is you can't get verified.
Yeah, I can't claim the listing without. By the way, am I talking really loudly?
No, you're fine.
Okay. I can't claim the listing. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, so first thing I would do is I would go through like Localese, and I would get your base. I would get the correct data. Localese houses the data, and then 125 of their partners come in monthly and review what the current data is there. And if they trust that data more than what data is currently in there, then Yahoo will switch it. Okay, if there's enough signal there to say that this matches the NAP on the page and this matches all of these other listings, then they'll potentially change it. But as far as to tell you how to get a hold of Yahoo specifically or that particular error, no, I would go to the Localese, run that one. I'd go manually try and do UBL, and then I would, if the value is there, I would actually get with Yext and actually pay to have Yext do it, because Yext will suppress incorrect listings, but only as long as you pay for it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, who's got another question? I know Benjamin's got one, I think, here. Are you good, Benjamin?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. So my question actually is concerning index issues and possibly crawling issues with a client's website.
Can you share that client's website, keeping in mind this is a recorded Hangout?
Can I put it in the chat? Is that equally as effective?
It can be. Just remember that, okay, so you can put it in the chat, and for everybody who's in the Hangout, please do not share the name of the company in the Hangout.
I'm sure it's okay, but you never know. I wanted to just do this. So there's a main domain, and then I'm going to put the subdomain in there.
Okay.
So, okay, I spelled it right. So here's the issue. So they approached me about a month and a half ago to 2 months ago with concerns that their pages weren't getting indexed.
Oh, I know this company. They actually approached me to do SEO for them.
That's funny. Did you get a chance to audit their site at all?
I said no just because of the name of the company. It's a weird company. It's with CEOs and things like that, founders of companies,
Yeah.
and so it's just a weird premise. And so I just said some companies I'll say yes to. It just sounded too weird for me.
Okay, so I don't know. I guess that must have been 2 months ago or so. You might have talked about.
5 months ago, yeah.
Okay, so in a nutshell, they had their subdomain was private, and it was only for members. Then they decided to open it up to the public and release all that content out, and they just did it in one big swoop. And so then I guess it was going well. Okay, like when you looked at the index graph in Google Webmaster Tools, it was shooting up, and then it just started dropping down really quickly, and that's when they contacted me. So I did a deep dive, and I used Google Webmaster Tools, Google Analytics, Screaming Frog. I mean, I used a bunch of tools, and I found out that they had thousands of 302 errors, and they had hundreds of 404 errors. So we cleaned all that up, and we tightened up the homepage a little bit. We've added some links to the subdomain on the homepage, but we're still seeing a few issues. The first is that it takes like anywhere from 1 week to 2 weeks, maybe even in some cases up to a month, to get their subdomain URLs indexed. And we are also seeing that their subdomain has been cached on October 20th, and it's November 14th. So,
okay, well, let me ask you this question. Are you using any tools? Are you looking at log files or anything like that to see how often Google is actually crawling the website?
Yeah, so we actually did that this week, and they're crawling it daily, actually, which is pretty surprising. So I'm wondering, maybe we missed it. Oh, and someone in the comments said fetch as Googlebot. We have been fetching as Googlebot for individual URLs, and they get indexed within hours once we fetch as Googlebot. But we don't want to stick to this manual thing.
So I think on the subdomain page, if you go to that first page that you gave, it actually kicks over to a login page.
It does, yeah. If you're logged out, correct.
Yeah, if you're logged out. So Google's going to have a hard time with that. They don't want to have to log into anything.
Okay.
So what they're doing is, so for everybody who's watching, so this is the way it is. If you go to a site and it has a login page, well, Googlebot can't log in. They're going to go through the links, and then they're going to discover stuff because maybe you linked to it or you did fetch as a Googlebot or something like that. And whatever links are on the page, they'll get to. Now, if you have a sitemap, they'll be able to get through all those pages a little bit easier. But if you're making Googlebot crawl the site and try to figure out how your site is architected, then what's going to happen is that Googlebot is going to have a difficult time. And over time, they'll get to those pages, but it's going to take them time to get there.
Okay, so maybe one of your recommendations is on the logged out users subdomain page, maybe add links to the recent forum posts that have been, because it's UGC, it's user-generated content. So you're saying that it's okay that you have this like login wall, but you might want to add links to it so people can follow those links once it hits that page. Is that
what's your thoughts on that?
Did you ask me?
It was Sam.
Oh, actually, I had a couple of questions, and because when you fetch the robot.txt file for the subdomain, it have a sitemap. So okay, cool. You go check the sitemap, and there's the advisors and what other stuff, mentor advisors and the discussions probably. But what are your metric or metrical URL that you're following and you're seeing, okay, it's not being crawled a lot, or what problem of the section of the website that you're seeing problem with?
Great question. It's subdomain.whatever.com/discuss, and which are the discuss pages, and then /discuss / a number that's consecutive. And the numbers right now are, I think, in 1775 was posted. And every time a user of our community posts a new topic, it'll do 771 / whatever the topic is, 772, 773, 774. So like, you know, the numbers in the low thousands and hundreds, those are all indexed for months old. But all the new posts take about a week or so. I think that's great advice about the logged out page, how Google only sees that, like, please log in, and there's nothing else for them to crawl from there. But I'm wondering if there's anything else, because we have links on the homepage that are linking in.
I think what you can do is I think it's also recommended in one of the Webmaster blog posts at Google, which basically is every time, you know, you have the modified date, and every time you have a new URL added to the sitemap, you use pops up hubbub and actually ping Google to actually come, and they recommend that. And also what I recommend is dissecting your sitemap. I mean, you have to discuss, you have the other categories under the main website or subdomain. Just dissect for each of the, you know, whatever subdirectory. Let's say subdirectory discuss. You put all the sitemap, all the URLs in that sitemap. You create a sitemap for the, you know, advisors, for example, whatever. So you create each one of them, and you track the, you know, so you understand where exactly is the problem and how you can make that specific section put a little bit more emphasis. What I also recommend is run. What do you think when you see the crawl depth, or do you do the crawl depth or the click depth from the main member, you know, the members dot whatever, to the actual discuss page? I mean, how many clicks, how many pages? If it's really in deep in that hierarchy, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. So just to repeat your advice, Hub Sub Hub. I read that post recently. It said talking about having an RSS feed. Is that like the general consensus of everyone here, to have a sitemap and RSS feed?
Well, the RSS feed, I mean, the RSS feed, I think, because it's a small file and it updates whenever you have something new, right, like a blog, Google can actually fetch it and process it a little much faster than having a 10,000 URL sitemap file.
Okay.
So having RSS feed, submitting an RSS feed might help indexation, of course. I see it. But
can I jump in there, Mr. Can I jump in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so to me, I've taken a quick look at the site. I really don't think it's a crawling issue. Personally, I think it's more of a quality issue, actually. There's a couple things I would say about it. I don't know, Ben, if you want me to say a number of SEO problems I see. I don't know, Ben, if you want me to say it on air or if you want to talk off camera.
No, I mean, either one's okay. I mean, if it's not, like, I'm just trying to get as much information as possible. I'm happy to talk off camera if you're okay with that, but it's up to you.
It's up to you. I can start talking now, or we can do it off camera.
It's really up to you if you want the domain to be shared.
No. Let's save it for off camera then. In that case, thank you.
Okay.
But a question was, the previous, Ali, your advice was about having a sitemap, just splitting it out into like having a main index sitemap and then
exactly.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so having an index sitemap that you point to multiple categories of, you know sitemap dash discuss.xml, you list all the discuss URLs and all that. Yeah.
Perfect.
Personally, I don't think it's a sitemap problem. I mean, all the stuff that Wissam said was very excellent advice for sitemaps. Personally, I don't think it's a sitemap problem. I think you'd be wasting your time and money looking at that. There's much more important things to look at.
Okay, I look forward to speaking to you offline, Josh. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I mean, and you got to realize you're going to need to do everything. It's not just a one-stop thing. So I still think you need sitemaps. I think you're going to need to add content because it's very, very thin in content. The entire site is. And you have to admit that. It is a very, very, very thin content.
Even the discuss pages? I mean, it's a forum. It's Q&A. I thought I was very impressed with, like, if you ask a question, you get a response almost like within a few hours. If you discuss
Well, that's the thing that basically most of the forums, Panda, they had a lot of forums where basically people start asking questions and there's no answer. Just it's like a doorway pages in a way.
Or no authoritative answer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, true. And the thing is with your that's why always recommendation from John Mueller is always have to moderate it, and whatever tangible way you can moderate that, either by a staff endorsement that this answer is good or whatever it is. You have to. This is why you actually flip the switch. Okay, index that page because it's answered. Trust is a good quality content because you have your staff endorse it or whatever it is, or that guy is have authority in answering it, whatever it is.
So it would be I don't want to take up everyone's time here, but the piece of advice here is that have our developers design a button for our moderators to click index, no index.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, this is probably a rule. If the question doesn't have any answers, just no index it. Till it have an answer, at least. This is the minimum.
Okay.
A good answer.
Yeah.
Then with lots of discussion, and if you have a thanking system or a rating system, people rating it and thanking it.
I have to interrupt, guys. I'm commenting in the side box, but my thing is I've ran forums forever, guys, and there's so many technical problems that come along with forums and user-generated content. I can post anything I want under an anonymous post. I just have to have an email address and be able to have a username and password. But what makes that different than other user-generated content? What sets you apart? What is the moderation level you have? What is the security level you have? I mean, how easy is it for me to hack into your forum and take control of whatever I want to post?
Yeah, the other big thing to look at is this. Google Forms do very, very well for any type of major search. If you do a search, for Webmaster issues or Gmail help or something like that, it's always going to be Google Forms that are going to show up number one. They just do. And it's because Google's crawling their own content and they're ranking it very well. And they do a good job of it. Why shouldn't their own stuff rank? Whatever. Now, some people might disagree with that, right, Josh? Nudge, nudge. But other people will be happy with it. So the thing is forums are very difficult to moderate. They're very difficult to keep going. And the problem with it is, you're going to have moderators, and you're going to have people going like, was this useful? Was this bad? And look at Yelp's model of what they've done. Look at all the other websites out there that are doing moderation of forum comments and reviews and things like that. It's difficult. It's not easy. Believe me, I know. I'm launching a site that's like this, but it's taken me almost a year and a half just working through all the logistical issues. Not easy.
Okay.
And just to put a small piece of context to this, especially based on what William was saying, there are software packages that you can buy that automate the entire process of commenting into, creating an account, authenticating an email address, creating a fake email address. They'll do the whole 9 yards. And so basically Google has said, we have to clean this up. That's the position they've taken, and so forums, because of the spammy nature of it, have taken a pretty hard hit. So to Matt's point, you're going to have to really, and to actually everybody's point, you're going to have to really up the game on that.
So, okay, cool. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. The last comment is, I guess my employer or my client, I guess she's watching, and she texted me. She said no questions go unanswered, and that most questions get answered within a few hours. And so I guess the proper response there is that the questions aren't detailed enough, or is it going to be just that there's not enough answers in general? Or is it,
to me,
timeliness is
much deeper than that.
It's
much deeper than that. The question is the question I would have is, how good is the answer? What is your site architecture to allow people to find those answers? And what topics are you answering on? Forums that are all things to all people don't get ranked in Google anymore. Forums need to be laser focused on a particular topic so that they know what to rank the forum for.
Got it.
You mean like Yahoo Answers?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You have a good laugh. Go look at Yahoo Answers. You will have an enjoyable few hours.
I really appreciate everyone taking the time. Josh, you and I will connect offline. Thanks so much, guys.
Sure.
No problem. Stay, hang out, ask some more questions if you got it.
I'm going to stick around. I do have questions. I'll save them for the end.
Okay, outstanding. Let's talk about something that was kind of cool. If any of you follow Ilya Gregorek on Google+, I hope you do. If not, I will say that you are a fool. You should be following him. He is probably one of the smartest people when it comes to security and things like that of the web. And he put out something interesting the other day. He reshared basically a post that someone had written, which I thought was pretty cool. Let me pull it up here, and you can go and I'll share it in the Hangout, and I'll go and pull it or maybe I'll get William Rock, because he's so fast, to go and put it on the Helpdesk Hangouts page. And it was talking about security, and basically it was all the newspapers that had done all of their HTTPS and things like that. And I know we've talked about security a bunch in the past, and I kind of want to touch on it a little bit today, because I think it's kind of cool of sites using that certificate. And here is the link. It's on a openblog.newyorktimes.com of embracing HTTPS. And I know that there is only a matter of time before more companies, more what do you call it? More newspapers, press journals, and things like that start to engage in that aspect of security. And here was, let me grab the one. There we go. Now I finally got the one from Ilya. I'll put it in the Hangout here. And I'll grab that one. Okay, there we go. So if you guys want to pull that up, and William, if you're quick enough, if you want to go drop that on Helpdesk Hangouts, for those who are just watching, they can go and look at the link. That would be awesome. And basically, it talks about like the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times and USA Today and the Daily News and Chicago Sun-Times and all these different newspapers and then news websites like ESPN and CNN and Forbes and stuff like that, even all the way down to TMZ, which I guess TMZ now is technically a valuable news source. I don't know, maybe, loosely. You want to see about Kim Kardashian, maybe?
Infotainment.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not really going to qualify themselves right now, or qualify them as a news source yet. But if you look at this, there is a really great article in here by Alex Gaynor on alexgaynor.net, where he talks about the state of news TLS, and it really goes in depth into understanding it. And I was just wondering, for those of you who are working in the press sites, I've worked on publishing platforms for news and things like that for some pretty major companies, and I just wanted to get your guys' sense of how you would feel if you went to a news site. We'll just pick like the Washington Post, for example, and you saw that it was a secured site. What would you think about that?
Can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, you're gonna have to unmute yourself if you're talking.
Personally, I wouldn't care. Security is great, but I also know how insecure TLS can be. So anyone who really knows what they're doing, it could just walk right through it most of the time. So good. It doesn't really matter to me. Bring me news I care about. That's what matters to me. I hate news sources have news I couldn't give two things about to say perfectly family friendly on your Hangout. So someone else can talk.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll do it. Basically, as far as security on a mobile device, I'd be like, oh, well, it's going to send me a piece of malware. Those many times I come across because I am very adamant about my security. SSL doesn't fix that problem, but what I've talked about in the past, which was your infrastructure. Where are you hosting this? Where are you putting this? What are you scanning on malware? What are you doing as you would normally do as a physical company and securing your environment with alarms, cameras, and everything else? What are you doing for the web? What are you doing for your visitors? That's, I think, the piece I want to take away from it.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting issue. I mean, I look at it and I think that, you know, if your site's unsecured, how easy is it to build a tool to go in and inject your ads on their website? I mean, and then you're losing money. And I look at the newspapers and I think the news websites and I go, guys, I think it'd be ideal for you because a lot of these news sites, I know one that loses $1 million a year right now. They're still putting out their paper newspaper, but they're losing $1 million a year. And they're taking their money out of their savings that they made over the last 50 years to pay to keep the company afloat. So it's only a matter of time before they cut their losses. So, and how hard would it be for some of you guys here in this Hangout to go and build something where someone, if you offer free Wi-Fi for your business or whatever like that, then you could inject your ads onto that website, so that way when a user is on your internet, then you make some money. You make some pennies on those ads. That's easy to do. I've seen people do that.
I can do that.
I think William does that.
No, I don't actually do that because I'm one of those called white hat ethical hackers that try to protect businesses, not actually, well, I can hack the business, but what I try to do is protect the business from people like me.
How do you know you can hack it if you never tried? Huh? Huh? You're black hat!
No.
Ooh.
There's ways of doing penetration testing in an environment that's actually safe.
Well, I'm not touching that one. Punch.
Yeah, I was like, there's a joke in there. I'm not going to say it. Okay, so let's move on. What else have you guys seen this last week? Let's go ahead and start off with Sam. What have you seen this last week that's kind of piqued your interest in regards to any SEO-related or PPC or SEM-related issues?
I think it was slow, right? I don't know. I was checking the search engine roundtable for news, and I don't think there's like any really. Probably this one, Josh would love it. Penguin's still rolling, right, Josh?
Yeah. What I haven't seen this week is any definite indication from Google if Penguin is still running, and if they're finished rolling it out yet. About 4 or 5 weeks ago, John Mueller said it would be rolling out for a few weeks. I'm assuming a few is 3. So is it done rolling out? Does it roll out monthly now, automatically? Some information about this potentially site crippling penalty would be nice. You know, just saying.
And what about fewer? A few is 3 weeks. Fewer is how many weeks?
Okay. All right, cool. We'll skip William for right now. We'll come back to him. Kevin.
Google mentioned that, or people are seeing that they are dropping the carousel interface for local results. I'm still seeing them in certain instances. So that could be really interesting, mainly because that means that instead of that big long bar that stacked a lot of businesses into, you know, basically whatever the width of your screen was, and then you could scroll, it's going to basically be the top 3 results. So, yay if you're in the top 3 localized results for that. Bad if you are outside of that. So for us, that's, you know, obviously you better be having good game in the regular organic listing, those that are not local listings, because otherwise you're going to miss out. And then just as an aside, Facebook launched Places, or they relaunched it, honestly. But it's not really a search thing. It's really more of a, I guess somebody said a guided tour, which I think is kind of apt, because you put in your city name and then it just shows you based off of restaurants, hotels, various things. Although I will note for people that go and look at that, check real carefully, because it is not based solely on the ranking or the rating, how many stars, And it is not solely based on how many people, friends of yours, or overall like their page or that listing. So there's some other things in there, and you can tell that because as you scroll down through there, you will see one that has fewer stars and less people who like it. That is higher than other ones. So that is not the sole ranking factor.
Do you think they might be doing like a geolocate and rendering by user location?
I think that's part of the algo because they show you a map, and then just knowing where these entities or these businesses are, I can kind of tell. But it's a mix. There's clearly a mix of signals that they're using to try and figure this out, which, by the way, is similar to the way graph search itself worked, because this is actually just an augmentation of graph search where you go in and you say, businesses or pizza near Fort Wayne, Indiana, or that kind of a thing, and then it shows those in an order too, and that is not by highest reviewed, it's not by highest likes, it's an amalgamation of things.
That is interesting. Josh, what have you seen this last week?
Google's making some interesting changes to the SERPs in terms of local results, hotel results, also providing detailed how-to tips directly on their SERP. I find that interesting and personally terrifying at the same time.
I did see a hotel result where a user shared it on Google+, and I thought the premise was flawed because they just rendered off. They said they showed the hotel just listing everything and then results underneath it. I think they might have been seeing that on a tablet or on a phone view, because when I tried replicating the same search on desktop, I was not able to replicate it, and nor was I able to replicate it on tablet as well.
Well, and that's related to the carousel thing, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It did give more hotel information. So, like, if you were to search, like, probably Palm Springs Marriott, I'll just do a search right now for Palm Springs Marriott, and let's just see what shows up. Because I believe on the right-hand side of the page, I don't get anything on there now. I just get a regular old listing. So I think it's only showing up for certain. Oh, there we go. I get some reviews, but not much, and it's actually fully expanded right now for the Courtyard Palm Springs. To me, it's not a useful review anyways, because I only see the blue pictures of users, and I don't trust when I don't see people's faces. I just don't. I want to see
by the look in their eye.
I want to see your ugly mug telling me that I should go and stay there.
You should go and stay there.
Then you'll like this, Matt, because the Facebook places that I was just talking about, you cannot even, like, there was a business that's local to me that when you looked at the hotels, the picture was a selfie of a woman. A woman's doing a selfie with her fanny in the air in the mirror, and the business owner can't select that. And I went and looked at their places page. It's beautifully curated. I mean, they have a lot of great pictures. They have all of this stuff, but that's the picture that Facebook has chosen to put to display there.
I think you better share a link to that. I think you better share a link to that, Kevin, just so we can.
I tweeted it. I tweeted it the other day.
Well, send us.
I'll send you a link here. Hang on a second.
I think that would be epic to go and see. Okay, so let's see. We did Josh. Danny, what have you seen in the last week or so?
So has anybody been using the callouts feature, the new feature in AdWords?
Tell us about it.
So it's kind of similar to site links, if you know what those are, but they're not linkable. They're not hyperlinked. They're just static text that you can, they're called callouts, and you can add up to 8, and just like site links, AdWords chooses which ones they display. And I started experimenting with it. It's kind of cool because it gives you a little bit more real estate when you're on that top left section. So now you have, you have your title, you have your 2 lines of description, and you get another line of callouts, and then you can even have another 2 or 3 lines of site links. So that's a lot of real estate up there, and you can put whatever you want in those callouts. You can, put special promotions, just a few lines of words saying anything. So I started using it. It's kind of cool. People should try it. There's no extra cost or anything like that. It's pretty simple to implement if you've used site links before. So I was just kind of gauging to see what people thought about when it's displaying. Google hasn't been really transparent about when it chooses to display it versus not display it. But sometimes, do you think too much real estate in the AdWords starts looking busy and confusing the user, and they kind of skip past the ad? I don't know. Putting it out there.
I'm the guy, so I am probably the evil guy that most PPC people hate. Whenever I do a keyword search, I'm the guy that does not click on organic listings. I click on the paid per click listings, so that way I know that companies are paying for my visit. Call me evil and sadistic, but I am the guy that does that.
I'm actually the opposite. I skip past the ads to save them some money.
Yeah, most people do. Most people do, but I'm the sadistic guy that says, if you are going for this keyword, which I have an idea of a feeling that it's going to cost anywhere between $5 plus, I think you should pay for my traffic.
And sometimes I get pissed about the people who are, because I still don't understand why sometimes people bid on their own branded words when they're all the way at the top, and I click on them anyways.
That I always do. That is a given. That will always happen.
The beauty of the advertising system that Google has developed is going to actually default back to that's a false click based off your IP and what you click on, and there's a lot of different filters inside the actual system. Way back from when we first started, I think I was part of the 300 people way back in 2001 when they launched the system of AdWords. So I've been playing on the system a long time and have watched what my clicks are for false and what they are for real. It's taken me a long time to actually build up those analytics and tell what we have today. It's beautiful, but back in the day when I was spending $1, I wanted to know where that dollar went and how many people clicked on it, but how many people actually clicked on it just as a competitor. And now they've fixed that problem, so those clicks that you've actually clicked on, filtered out.
For the most part. If you're clicking a lot of stuff every day, then those results will be filtered out and those companies won't be charged. That's why I usually only try to click on one ad per day.
But to your point in the chat about it's better for quality score and that's why big companies buy their own branded keywords, is that a well-known thing? I thought they were doing it to avoid somebody else beating them out.
That's one of it, and the thing is, that click is cheap because you have the best ad relevance, you have the best.
Yeah, you're only ever going to pay 5 cents.
And it helps your account quality score because it aggregates data for your whole account about the click-through rate because it's your brand. It's going to be the highest click-through rate ever, and that helps the whole account. So definitely, that's why I use it. This is
Benjamin said questions for the end. Benjamin, did you want to mention your questions? Because we're just about at the end.
Oh, man, free reign here. Okay, I have a lot of questions. Actually, not that many. So I have 2 questions regarding SEO local. My first one is I'm working with a client who has a local business, 50-mile, 100-mile radius. And, I haven't really worked with a local client, but so I started researching this, and what I've come up with is I did Moz Local for them. And so my first part of the question is, what is everyone's opinion of Moz Local? And then I've waited about 3 months to let that populate, and now I'm going to do either Bright Local or White Spark for more local citations, and I wanted to just get the community's opinion on those 2.
Okay, so you have two kind of things that are commonly they go together. They really do, but people kind of intertwine them. You know, the citation, the appearance of the NAP, name, address, and phone number, website, or partial, full or partial. That is kind of separate from being in a known directory, the IYPs, which also happen to display your NAP. Okay, so kind of think of those as two separate things. How many websites, like news agencies, local news sources, other local businesses, are talking about my brand and using a full or partial NAP? Then how many IYP, trusted directory sources, most of which you shouldn't be paying for, okay, does it appear in so that they see this common listing for your business, and so they have this high efficacy that is who you are, this is the place that you are. So I really like to think of those as two separate things. Whitespark is going to be awesome. Whitespark.ca, for those that are not familiar with it, is awesome for finding, by the way, it's worth the $20 a month, $25, $20 a month, is awesome for finding out what you already have, like discovering where your citations are, and also good for discovering what competitors are using and where your opportunities are at. Just be careful and build that organically and naturally. I would encourage you to use Localese, because Localese, and I'm a big proponent of Localese, because they have 125 different quality directories. That includes like Apple Maps, that includes, you know, I mean, there's a whole chart on it, and that just gets that set. And so it's very similar to what you did with Moz Local, but it extends to some additional ones, and they have a few that Moz Local doesn't, and Moz, you know. So anyway, so that's the 30,000-foot flyby on that, and then I'll let somebody else jump in.
So no one would recommend Bright Local? Would recommend Whitespark for building citations?
It's not that I'm opposed to Bright Local. That's fine. I'm less familiar with Bright Local. I've not used their services in the past. I'm aware of them, but you know, honestly, and it's my fault. I have a whole listing that we use for our local clients, and I need to write a post about it. There's some very common websites that you can go to that list who are your local news agencies, for example. Can you create a story that is natural and organic about a product release or about a new service offering or whatever, and then you have them list your name, address, and phone number in that, and that becomes a citation from a local, qualitative, relevant area. So there's a whole bunch of ways that you can do that to get those citations built up.
Okay, that's great. And then using my last question, I have two other clients who have a budget of about $1,000, maybe $1,500, maybe even pushing $2,000 a month, and I'm looking for a local SEO, someone who's good at doing local businesses. Is that anyone on the line here, or is that something that's like unattainable at that price?
I'm sorry, what was the first part of that?
They have a budget of about $1,000 to $1,500 a month, and I'm looking for someone who knows local SEO who can take them over as clients, because they're just too small for me right now.
We have enough people here. If you can send them our way if you want, and we could talk to them. I mean, I don't want to. There's other people here that are qualified as well, but I mean, so if you want to have them talk to us, we do a lot of local, so we certainly could help them with that.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of people here who can help you with that. It just depends on what their budget constraints. I know some people here won't do things for certain, less than certain amount of money. You lose money at that point if you're not making enough. That's just
some other tips I have for you for local. Google Business Photographer Enhanced Listing is really good. It's definitely something you want to look into. Make sure your Google My Business, or whatever the hell they're calling it now, is filled out completely. If you have any free parking, make sure you put it there. Whatever services you have it there. Anything you can fill out on that Google Plus local page, fill it out. Upload videos, get stuff in there. Reviews are your friend. You know, you can't buy reviews, obviously, but make sure you incentivize and call to action your happy customers reviewing and rating you as much as possible. And more reviews better. Yelp, Zagit, every place you can get good reviews, get them. That's really important. Yeah, those are, I mean, other than the other basic SEO stuff, that's what I would say to do for...
I would recommend checking out Andrew Shotland's blog on local. There's some really, really great stuff. That guy is phenomenal in writing what he does. And believe it or not, a Groupon deal for a business, if you can keep swing it right, can actually do a lot of really positive things. That and sponsoring 5Ks, believe it or not, for local.
Sponsorship and events are a no-brainer. If you're doing local, you've got to sponsor and do events, because you'll get write-ups left and right of it, and it's natural. It's due you, and so you do that. And Josh's, I can't believe I forgot it. Josh's recommendation with the Google photographers, it's a very trusted thing to do. So I would look into that as.
Yeah, I put on a 5K, for example, and I put on a Century bicycle ride. Those guys, my sponsors, when I get them, they get tons of coverage. I send people out and things like that. Event directors will do that for just a couple $100, and you get your logo on the back of their shirt. You'll get mentioned in their swag bag. You'll get in the emails. You get on social media. You'll get on the website. You get a link on the website usually. You get all kinds of stuff, and it's super natural. And I strongly recommend, hey, spend a couple $100 a month on just promoting 5Ks in your local area or half marathons. 5Ks, there's a ton of them. Believe me. Last month there was over 4,000, and this month there's going to be about 3,000 of them. That's enough, trust me, that you could do some good damage as far as making your site more visible. But with that, Kevin, one last word. I know you want to say it.
Yeah, I want to say, Matt's really passionate about 5Ks. Those are great. Just look for events where you have a wide distribution of people.
Agreed. Okay, folks, we're a few minutes over. I know you might not have gotten to get your point in, William and Ollie. Join us next week, and we'll go with you guys first. Until then, go and enjoy the weekend. Go out and watch some football if you can. I'm going to go to the University of Utah versus Stanford game. Go Utes. Hopefully they will win tomorrow. And crush that little that tree up there. So for anybody who's a Stanford fan. So anyways, have a great one, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Thanks, guys. What's this football thing you're talking about? I've never heard of this before.